Ho ho ho! Happy XMas, agents! Santa here, welcoming you to this week's Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by Pokemon Trainer J. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates, and rumors. Share comments on your podcast feed or on our socials in the show notes. And check the merch store out too. I've got you all on my nice list. So, no Dark XM for you this year. I hear one agent has Fit Rep rewards on their Christmas list. I'll see what I can do. Ho ho ho! On with the show.
Additional intel available.
As I've discussed on the podcast, I did manage to attend the November 30th Shard Skirmish at Oxford. So what I'm doing in this section is to talk about what was involved in that. I might talk a little bit about like my travel there and things like that. But I just wanted to cover what I thought of it and let you know what's sitrep, OPSEC, and what I can't share going forward. But I'll cover what I can in this section. For those of you who haven't attended an anomaly before, there's generally a report like this would be called a sit rep, like a situation report to say what's happened, what's gone on there. It's where we get the name for fit rep from sit rep. Someone thought it was funny, obviously, at the time when they were making that for Ingress. Another important term you might hear when you're talking about skirmishes and faction things, faction events and bits like that, is OPSEC. So that means operational security, basically not letting the other team know what's going on. So as I said, there will be some bits that I can't share because they might be used in future anomalies by my team, the Enlightened. I don't want the Resistance to know certain ways that you operate and things like that. Similarly, if someone was talking about it from a Resistance standpoint, they wouldn't want to share necessarily what their team are up to and what's happening there. So I'll share what I can and just maybe talk about my travel there quite casually as well. But I hope you enjoy my Shard Skirmish sitrep. Firstly, with the Shard Skirmish, I want to refer back to Brighton, which is where I've attended the Echo Anomaly. So that's my experience of Anomaly so far, being Oxford and Brighton. For both of these, they were quite a long travel for me. I know some agents even fly over to anomalies. For me, this was basically 6 hours of travel on trains, which isn't great if you know the UK train infrastructure. And there were several delayed trains and trains that were full and having to catch later ones and missing connections. Not a great experience before getting there. Then when I arrived in Oxford, I was told that there was some football game going on. I don't do sports much, so wasn't aware of that. So there was increased police presence, so that was interesting to see on the first trip out of the station and getting to my location. I got told where to arrive for the anomaly, so I went to that location, arrived there and obviously sorted out and got things ready, made sure I had my inventory sorted and had enough bursters, shields, things like that. I'd say that's an important part of preparation beforehand to make sure you get rid of any portal keys you don't need for doing any links, as well as making sure you've got enough bursters. There may be a recommended inventory to have for the event that your group will communicate to you. And then after that, it was a case of waiting for action for a little while, waiting for more of our team to arrive. It was also quite humbling being recognised by a few people, even just by my voice, not necessarily my appearance. So it shows people have been listening to the show, and some people chatted to me about it, which was very nice, said bits they enjoyed, bits they didn't like. So nice to hear face-to-face feedback on the podcast. I also decided to use Zello for this anomaly, which was something I mentioned before, where agents use it as a kind of walkie-talkie system to have a secure channel to communicate messages to teams to say basically what they should be doing, whether they should be traveling to a portal, capturing something, doing something else. So whilst I didn't speak on Zello, I listened in, which was nice to see what was coming in and then understand a bit more about what was going on at the Echo Anomaly for the people that were receiving messages there and leading those teams. It was very foggy and wet towards the end of it, and I remember traipsing down a canal path for the final waves of the portal and seeing a lot of other agents that I'd either knew the names of or recognised from my scanner, and it was very nice putting names to faces and seeing people even on the other team. And then I just wanted to cover some kind of general advice if you're traveling to Anomaly and being at an Anomaly as well. I know this wasn't an Anomaly, but I think a Shard Skirmish is sort of like a mini Anomaly from what I've seen. It's got the same kind of things involved. You still get the medal, so Yeah, I think it's a mini anomaly is what I'd say a Shard Skirmish is really. My main tip would be to take drinks with you and stay hydrated, so a bottle of water, snacks and things like that to keep yourself going during the anomaly, either before and after as well. Depending on your play style, some agents advise to go in dark, which means not hacking portals and playing Ingress basically until you're at the location till the event started, so other agents don't necessarily know you're there. I didn't do that. I had train station and stuff on the way in, so if anyone was watching, they knew I was on the way. So that's not a problem. Also, part of OPSEC and making sure you know which agents are which is ideally not talking about Ingress to people unless you know they're definitely your agents. You don't want to accidentally reveal something. One thing I found useful for this when people would be walking by when we were getting set up is probably not a suggestion some Ingress agents will like, but having Pokemon Go open and installed and playing that when people are going by, so they think you're just a Pokemon Go player. Now that I've said it on the podcast, that probably ruins that strategy. But that's my usual strategy if I think someone is an Ingress player, to switch to another game and pretend I'm playing that rather than Ingress. After the Shard Skirmishes or anomaly, things like that are finished, there's generally an after party that you'll be made aware of, and you can go there, meet other agents, drink and be merry, in short. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to attend the after party this time round, as I had to dash off and get my train. But I'm hoping there'll be a more local Shard Skirmish or anomaly or other event like that in the new year, so then I don't have to travel back as much or as long, and I can stay a bit longer. But yeah, that's my sit rep, I guess, and the main points of it are staying hydrated, make sure you've got good inventory, make sure you've got some snacks, make sure you're prepared with things like power banks as well. Take 1 or 3, it's ideal. And then obviously just have fun and make sure you do whatever you need to get the badge. Some agents didn't realize they needed to hack the Shard portal on there. I think for my team that I was in, we managed to obtain 2 of the 5 shards that were part of the event. Similarly to Echo, it was lots of either blowing stuff up or recharging stuff and keeping it going whilst the other team are trying to battle against you. So to any outside person, it might look a bit weird that there's 10 or so people all gathered around tapping their phones, either going recharge, 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 or deploy, 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 or mod. But if you have access to Zello, I'd advise getting that just to at least listen in and hear any instructions, so you know what you should be doing at the portal and where you should be going. All in all, it was good fun, so quite happy to do one again. Like I said, hopefully with a bit less travel next time, but you can consider that the end of my sit rep. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do that on a few channels. So on Threads under the name ingress.insights, on Instagram under the name ingress.insights as well. Our Twitter/X, which posts episodes of the podcast, is under Ingress Insights, no dot in that one. And you can also watch these episodes on YouTube under Ingress Insights Podcast. You can send us a voice message by visiting the podcaster's Spotify page. And finally, you can buy Ingress Insights merch, such as mugs, pins, t-shirts, by going to freepublic.com/user/ingress-insights. And on there, you'll see all the designs that we've got listed at the moment. There are some new ones that will be coming up at some point soon, but you can buy your Ingress Insights mug, hats, t-shirts, tote bags, anything like that you want. Thank you again for listening. Hope you tune in next week. If you do like the show, please do rate it on the podcast service you're listening to. I look forward to speaking with you all about Ingress again.
Intel package transferred.